Hello, my name is Logan Steese. This is CYB 503 Lab 2. In this lab, we have to find or use a tool or technique that we discussed so far in class and talk about lateral movement and plan in detail on how to move laterally within your environment. And then afterwards, we're going to use we're going to talk about some prevention and detection tactics afterwards. So in this environment, we dropped mimikatz. All right, that's the option I was going for. And I'm going to preface this with that this is not a domain environment, so we're not able to pass the official administrator credentials or re-sign credentials with the KRGBT account, whatever those letters are. But we were able to successfully pass the hash for the administrator account and run applications. So initially what I did was I got mimikatz running. You have to initially check to see if you've got the correct debug privileges. If it returns 20, you're good. So I right out the gate did an LSA dump of the SAM file to get all of the hashes of the passwords and so forth. And, you can see them here. There's not many accounts. There's, we've got lab, guest, default account, WDA, and the administrator, which all except for lab are disabled. I next then elevated my token, which this allows mimikatz to interact with Windows authentication tokens. And so that's step one. Then I just dumped the LSA again just to see if it had any effect, and it did not. But afterwards, then I used securl and it did pass the hash, and we're passing the hash of the administrator. This is our domain. Yes, it's not like an enterprise domain, but it's a local domain. And then here's our hash for that user. And I went with the command of running Notepad. And when you run it, you get a notepad. Voila. Now, you can use this in terms of elevating a command prompt with domain privileges, and that would allow you to utilize net use or PS exec scripts or commands to laterally move throughout your environment. Once you get a shell or a command line, it's just over at that point. You'd also be able to use it to view other devices files and so forth and copy them. Now, one thing I want to touch on is detection of this. So I went and looked at the event logs, and here this event is filtered on event ID 4624, 4634, and 4672. That's log on, log off, and special log on. So here we can see that at the exact same time, there's a log on event as well as a special log on. Okay. Nothing in itself is too suspicious, but then once you start looking at the target outbound username, it's administrator, which is disabled. So that initially would be a red flag. So in a domain environment, you can alert on different, whether you get a seam or whatever, alert on detected usernames that are being elevated as target outbound usernames and so forth. In terms of preventing mimikatz from running in a domain environment, there's a couple things you can do. One, implement least privilege. Don't give any user local admin rights. They don't need it, no matter how much they squawk about it. Two, you can also specify in a group policy not to allow programs to run in debug mode, and that would be your best bet, because mimikatz requires the debug elevation to run. And then we can see that here. One second. Yeah, so this is the first thing you do, or this is the first thing any threat actor is going to do when they get on a target computer. They're going to see if this privilege is 20. If it's not, you're going to have to start somewhere else. So that's lab 2. Hopefully it makes sense. My name's Logan Steese. We're one more lab closer to graduation, my people.